Hello, Moonies and Bisho Bros.
Not the Bisho Bros. I don't care how they're doing.
Oh, but that's what they're called, Nick.
That is what they're called now. All you insecure guys who like magical girl anime, you're a Bisho Bro. Deal with it.
And as soon as you own up to it and make, it cool and not creepy, you're totally a Moonie. Sorry.
Then you can join us being Moonies. But until then,
you're a Bisho Bro.
Alright, so, hello, Internet.
Hi there. My name's Rena.
And I am Nick.
And we're here to talk to you today about Sailor Moon, and mostly what Nick thought of it, because I introduced him to the manga version. I actually introduced him to the whole series in general. But, I
was not part of the craze when it was big.
I sat him down and got him to read all 12 volumes of this manga. And as a result, I've got some questions for him that I think you might find interesting, his answers, because I haven't even asked him some of these questions yet.
Oh boy.
Alright.
I don't even have anything prepared then.
Okay.
Great.
So, of course you like Usagi. Obviously. You have to. That's a rule.
I was gonna... If we're gonna talk about, the quality of the series, can I say that was the first impression that I do want to share with people, is that I really liked Usagi Tsukino as a main character a lot. She's a really good protagonist, and I think a lot of people associate her with how she acts in the early episodes of the anime when she's really whiny and, not very effective, and I see a lot of the fandom makes fun of her for that, but she really steps up quick in the manga, and she becomes, even in the anime, she does some really heroic, if foolhardy stuff, and I respect that.
And we've actually met a lot of people who have said that Usagi is their reason to keep on going, because she's a good role model.
Yeah, it's, as far as, just as far as superheroes go, I think Sailor Moon is a really good one.
So you called her a superhero. Care
Yeah.
to say why you called her a superhero?
Well, at the end of
Because I'm not opposed to calling her a superhero, because she is.
I would say, I know anime fans will get really defensive about calling a character a superhero or not, or, I know, yes, she is a magical girl. That goes without saying.
But she's also part of a Sentai team, which is superheroes.
I would say, yeah, it's a Sentai team wearing bows and skirts. I mean, it's just like the Power Rangers, except she's 1,000 times cuter.
She's the White Ranger.
Yeah, or I guess the more typical Red Ranger role, but whatever. She's the...
I went American reference on that one.
I like what you did there. I like the White Ranger. But you know what I mean, though. I mean, it's just like any of those shows, it's just cuter. And
more deadly.
Unless you're counting the Japanese version. That gets pretty deadly, Super Sentai.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like Usagi. I like how she grew. I like her interactions with her friends. I like her interactions with her boyfriend. I thought she was a really good hero.
Good. Okay, speaking of her friends, I'm gonna make you pick.
Oh, no, don't make me pick.
You need to pick a favorite inner senshi, and if you can't decide, just give their positive and negative feedback on, positive and negatives, and then we can actually weigh it.
For all of them, or just the ones that
the ones that you like the most? And you can't take in your experience with the anime into account on this one.
What I'm gonna say is that, I think all of the inner senshi are really well thought out and fun characters. I do want to say that off the bat. Okay. None of them are bad. I really like Ami a lot because because she's Willow. She is early seasons of Buffy Willow of the group.
I am making this face.
I wish you could see the face. She's the cute nerdy member, and I think that's adorable.
I wish I could say early seasons Willow was cute, but no, you're wrong.
Willow's adorable. No, I don't care what you say. But no, I like that I like that she's more the brains of the group. She's the early parts of the manga. She has very little, if any, offensive capability. She basically she can't fight worth a damn, but she's support. She like the first thing she does is to be a support unit for Usagi to go kill someone again. Usagi kills a lot of monsters.
Okay.
I just want a side note. But the other person, the other Senshi I really liked, partly because she's so freaking murderous.
Psycho
I like
Hiko.
Yeah, Psycho Miko, yeah.
Miko, not
Hiko. My buddy Ray, Sailor Mars, and her propensity for setting things on fire. And I hate saying it, but part of me weighs a little bit more toward Mars, partly because of how one of the later chapters during the Amazonas Quartet story arc thing, I don't remember what that story arc would be called, but she has,
This is the Dead Moon Circus.
Yeah, the Dead Moon Circus story arc. There's a chapter called Ray Dream, and Ray is confronted with her own emotional issues, and she's psychologically attacked, and how she overcomes it is really impressive and inspiring, and really liked it a lot. A lot.
I'm terrible. I have the books here so that I can go through them and find out what he's talking about.
But there's this chapter where Ray has to gets attacked psychologically, and it's really, really impressive, and how she overcomes it is speaks a lot about her character, and a lot about her inner strength, and her two crows turn into the Mothra fairies, so it's really pretty great.
They do. Phobos and Demios do turn into little Mothra fairies.
They totally turn into the Mothra
They're
fairies.
They're the Shobi Jane. They're the Mars Shobi Jane.
So yeah, that, I don't know, but I still really like Sailor Mercury because she's the nerdy one, and I always have a soft spot for the nerdy one.
Mm-hmm. Beyond that, out of the outer Senshi.
Outer, it's hard. Because, once again, there's not a bad character among them.
And we do have to differentiate that there are two significantly different Sailor Saturns, as well as two significantly different Sailor Plutos.
I was about to say, like, Sailor Pluto, it gets complicated there. Because you have Future Pluto, who I actually didn't like that much. I liked the Pluto who shows up after, like, I guess, modern Pluto. I thought she was a lot more cool-headed and just awesome.
Okay.
I liked Sailor Saturn a lot. I didn't like Hotaru. I liked Sailor Saturn.
I think that might change when we get to the anime, but then again, I haven't actually seen much of the anime where she's in it.
I really thought the idea of Sailor Saturn was really cool, that there's just this, like, she is basically the final weapon. She's your Omega cannon, your final... She's your
space satellite cannon.
Yeah, she is your Gundam space satellite cannon. She is your absolute last resort. And I loved that idea, and I love even more that despite the fact that she's your last resort, she's like one of the smallest of the Senshi, and one of the least threatening looking, but dear God, she's kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I liked Sailor Saturn more than I liked Hotaru.
That's okay.
That's...
So you liked her in I can't remember the name of that story arc, but at the beginning of the Black Moon story arc.
Yeah, I liked her there. I even liked when Hotaru first turns into her.
Oh, that's Deathbusters.
Yeah, during that, I liked that too. But I didn't like... Hotaru on her own was fine. I have nothing against her, but I like Sailor Saturn more than I like her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time where I can say that the secret identity is significantly different than the Sailor Scout, but...
Yeah, I can understand on that one. She did kind of have forced growth upon her, so she just kind of skipped that part of her character.
Yeah, that was confusing and weird.
Time skips. Yay. Okay, so you stated earlier that you actually liked Usagi's relationship with Mamoru.
Yes.
I remember when you started reading it, you were actually really creeped out by it.
That's because it was initially, it's weird that, like, that relationship got so good in really quickly, because in the early books, it was creepy and weird, and admittedly, sometimes when you're reminded of how big the age difference is between them, it's horrifying.
Doop, it's my first year of high school. Hi, Mamoru, you're in college.
It's creepier when they're like, it's creepier when she was still in middle school.
Yeah.
That's kind of horrifying, actually.
Still in middle school and has child?
Yeah, well, I mean, granted that she's not actually Teen Mom, but still.
Yeah, still.
That's so freaking weird.
Okay, so since we did bring up Teen Mom and,
God.
stuff, I want to know your opinion on Chibiusa. / Rini / whatever the heck you want to call her.
I did want to finish, but before I, covering the creepy thing, I did also want to say, like, the early stuff that, like, when Mamoru, in, like, one of the, I think the second book or so, when he takes her back to his place and just, like, changes her clothes, like, I thought that was creepy and moderately rapey. That was to clarify why I was so uncomfortable with it. But then later, when their relationship develops and you have scenes that are just, like, Mamoru and Usagi, like, sitting down and talking and acting like a couple and not being annoying-ass anime people who dance around, do I like him? I don't know, maybe I do. And them actually just being a couple and doing boyfriend-girlfriend stuff, I liked that a lot. A lot. But yeah, Chibiusa, what did I think of her?
Start from the beginning.
Chibiusa annoyed the piss out of me when she showed up.
Thank you!
Yeah, did not like her in the freaking slightest. And honestly, she never really improved that much for me. I
Thank you for sharing my opinion.
Like, wow. What an annoying character. I didn't understand. I don't know what Takeuchi was thinking putting her in. Aside from assuring us that the OTP was going to end up OTP, I guess. But I didn't understand what, like, she gave to the story, and everything that she did was, like the names of her attacks were garbage. The fact that everything she did was just a copy of what Usagi did was freaking annoying. It's like, hey...
You're gonna love her in the anime.
Oh, good. I mean, she is... you know what? She's like Minila. Like, you have something awesome, like, if you wanna, yeah. You have, like, Usagi's awesome. She's like Godzilla. And Minila is the son of Godzilla, and he's not awesome.
No. There's a difference here.
And I have to put up with Minila.
There's a huge difference here, because Minila looks like Godzilla's child, or the Pillsbury Doughboy, or Godzilla and the Pillsbury Doughboy had a kid and it went to visit Chernobyl.
Oh, God.
There's a significant difference.
Okay.
Chibiusa's at least cute.
Yeah, okay. Chibiusa's design is not bad. That's not bad. I didn't like her, though. I thought she was annoying, and I didn't really... Even when they wanted to have her contribute to the story, like, Chibiusa's best parts in the story are when she's bouncing off of Hotaru. Like, that relationship, like, her thing with Hotaru, I bought.
The best buddies?
Yeah, that was good. But I didn't think she... I don't know. I guess she never really... The closest thing she came to working for me was when they were first introducing Hotaru, and she was a good audience surrogate for introducing Hotaru and her weirdness. But beyond that, I never liked her, and I didn't think she worked very well.
Okay. So, building off of that, You keep mentioning the Pharaoh 90 story arc. The Deathbusters.
I did like that a lot.
See, personally my favorite story arc is the final story arc, but mostly because I love how deep and depressing it gets.
Well,
with the ray of hope at the end.
I kind of want to talk about both, but
I want to hear about why you like the Deathbusters story arc so much, and sorry about the cat.
Okay, why I like the Deathbusters story arc is the setup for it is great. You get, for starters, with all the interesting stuff that you get during that particular part of the story, you first get the Outer Senshi making their first appearance proper in continuity. You met Pluto in the previous story arc, the future Pluto, who died. It's confusing, but you start out with the intriguing mystery of our two lesbian characters, Haruka and Michiru, who another one. By the way, I love their relationship. It's so cute. They're adorable. They're goddamn adorable, and I loved them bouncing off of each other, and they had some really great chemistry. I liked them a lot. But you get Haruka and Michiru, and how mysterious they are, and the Sailor Senshi trying to figure out what their whole deal is. You get, like I said, the only good moments you really get with Chibiusa when she's meeting Hotaru and trying to become friends with her. And then you get the creepy, Hotaru's creepy as hell dad. And I loved his design. I loved...
like that he was basically Dr. Serizawa?
Little bit, yeah. I liked his mad scientist thing going on, his goofy magical circle glasses. I loved, I loved how creepy it was with, like, Hotaru and her being basically a cyborg at that point. The weird sci-fi elements worked in there. Eventually, Pluto joining the group, and then again, that idea of Sailor Saturn, the super weapon behind the scenes, and building up for that led to a really satisfying conclusion. And I liked that a lot. It was good. Especially since the villains in Sailor Moon are at least for the manga, the anime of what I've seen, they had really interesting and kind of cool designs for the villains. But in the manga, the final bad guys always just look like scribbles with eyes on it. And then they have, like, one top minion who's really the only cool one. And, like Queen Beryl was the first example of this, but then Queen Metalia just looks like squiggles with eyes on it. And the same can be said of Pharaoh 90, but Pharaoh 90's henchmen were all really cool, so I was able to still dig it in the end. So yeah, I like that story arc.
Okay. And you said you wanted to talk about the final story arc.
I do want to talk about the final story arc, and again, I haven't gotten that far in the anime yet. I'm watching it on Hulu as it comes out. It's
gonna take us 2 years?
It's gonna take a while, yeah. But what I will say... 100 weeks. Anyway.
2 years?
What's weird about the final story arc is just how violent it got. You know, like, it
violent? No.
No, but I mean, it got so, the story really starts out with, Mamoru getting disintegrated. And then for the rest of the story, it's just characters getting disintegrated, left and right, or, at one point, someone gets stabbed with a blunt object. And it was really interesting how dark, Miss Takeuchi was willing to go with it, and I respect that. But the crux of my problem with the final story arc is the problem that I had with the story from the very beginning. Is that Naoko Takeuchi is an awful, awful artist.
Thank you for mentioning that.
She is she has great character concepts and great story concepts, but her pacing is bad. And her art is worse. And when, especially when she's drawing action scenes. And this final story arc is almost entirely action sequences. And they're action sequences she's not good at drawing. And, like, compounding that, every other chapter is someone you like or have emotional investment with getting disintegrated, which emotionally hits you really hard. But eventually you get Usagi stuck with these people who you have literally no reason to give two rats' asses about. I know that the Sailor Starlights have a lot of fandom behind them, and maybe that's because of
the anime, because I don't see it.
I'm about to say maybe the anime or the musicals or something, but in the manga, they are the most one-note, uninteresting characters there. Like, they're boring to me. They're not even like Chibiusa, who annoys me. I just don't have any emotional thing for them whatsoever.
And for the record, Sailor Star Maker has an attack along the lines of Space Uterus.
Oh my god. I didn't get... also, this is a dumb question, but I'm going to throw it out there. Why does no one else dress in a sailor uniform when they start meeting the other sailors? Sailor Starlights do not look like sailors that I've seen. Neither does Sailor Galaxia, or Tin Mouse, or, Tin Yanko, or Iron Mouse, or Metal Siren, or...
They come from different planets, you don't know what their culture is like.
Sailors just dress like dominatrixes on Iron Mouse planet? Is that how things are? Okay.
Iron Mouse wasn't the dominatrix, that was,
Was that Tin Yanko?
No, Tin Yanko did, and Aluminum Siren did.
Oh, okay, well, whatever.
Aluminum Siren had a whip.
Jesus. Okay, so yeah, that's...
Sorry.
Whatever.
I might be obsessed with this last story arc, and I might want to dress up as both Tin Yanko and Iron Mouse. I'm weird.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with that. I just felt like there were a lot of... the flaws that Takeuchi... that just come with being Takeuchi stuff, just, it was hard for her to overcome. It wasn't a bad ending.
It wasn't a bad ending at all. It was just severely rushed. Going through it a second time, I realized that it's actually probably better chopped up into 3 books. So I'm going to give the Chicks Comics credit where credit is due, that extending it through 3 books actually improved it a little bit.
You know what was really well drawn? Although... well, the setup for it was well drawn, but the action was just as garbagey as the other action. I hate saying that. But was Usagi versus the golems of all of her dead friends.
Oh, yeah.
That was really well done and terrifying. And that hit really hard.
Yep.
I like that.
So, yeah, Sailor Moon is an incredibly fast-paced manga. Incredibly.
It might have been too fast-paced for its own good.
Yeah, I'm starting to look at this and be like, it's only 12 volumes?
Like, I know...
it should be extended to 20.
It's kind of the same problem that I had with the first half of the Cardcaptor Sakura manga, and admittedly part of that came from watching the Cardcaptor Sakura anime first, which, for those who don't know me, that's one of my all-time favorite anime. But the thing there was that when I finally sat down and read the manga, my first thought was, wow, the pacing is just... it's too fast. Like, I think Magical Girl series lend themselves to episodic stories. Because,
very much like Super Sentai!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it gives you more chance to explore, and Sakura wasn't hurt by this because it has a relatively small cast, but I feel like Sailor Moon was kind of hurt by it because I felt like we didn't get enough time spent with her supporting characters. When they got to shine, they got to shine really brightly, but I would have liked to have seen more of the inner and outer Senshi. Again, Usagi's a great lead, so it didn't hurt me that much, but I did want to see more of her friends.
Okay, I understand. Okay, so speaking of manga and how quickly paced this is, I keep noticing that we have Sailor Moon right here. It has 4 story arcs.
Uh-huh.
4 story arcs in 12 volumes, and I look up at Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah.
Has 3 story arcs in 28 volumes.
Well, technically speaking...
Technically speaking, it's got like 6 story arcs, but overarching story arcs, it's got 3.
I was say, yeah, because, well, I mean, like, the first 6 books of Kenshin have technically, like a zillion little story arcs there.
I just kind of mush it into the TV series.
But then 7
seasons.
through 7 through 28 are just 2 story arcs right there, really. And maybe that's part of it too, is that Kenshin is my favorite manga, and I'm used to the pacing in that where they take a lot of time on one story arc because there is so much to explore, and Kenshin had a ludicrously big cast, but I never felt that I didn't get to know any of them along the way. And I would have liked something like that with Sailor Moon. I'm actually surprised Sailor Moon only has 12 books. That's really weird.
So, I'm actually really happy that you don't like Naoko Takeuchi's art style. I personally think that she's much better suited to doing illustrations and character designs.
Yeah,
than she is for doing any of the comic book work that she's done.
She was great there. Yeah.
Sailor Moon is that magnificent failure of a success.
Yeah, it's
there is no reason at all except incredibly low standards that Sailor Moon should have taken off.
Well,
the manga at least.
Well, I was about to say no reason artistically, like from the
from the writing perspective, it wasn't that great.
Okay, yeah, the writing has a lot of problems.
It took 2-3 books until it started mattering, like what was going on in the plot, until I started actually feeling it.
Same. Yeah.
Whereas, again with Rurouni Kenshin, at the end of the first book, you're hooked. You can't go away.
I'd say I know no one is listening to this to hear us do Rurouni Kenshin versus Sailor Moon, but I will admit that when I was reading Rurouni Kenshin, I picked up the first book on a whim, and then after I finished it, I immediately went back to the bookstore to get the next 2 books.
Yeah, see? Sailor Moon, the manga does not do that. The TV series might do that, but it's such a slow start.
Yeah, it's weird that... I'm wondering how it... yeah, and I'll be interested to see, maybe we should record another one of these when we get further into the TV series.
I think so, too.
Because, right now...
I want to do these, after each story arc ends.
Because right now,
Which there are, 10.
Comparing them, I'm already blown away by how much more time the TV series is spending exploring the characters. Rei is way more of a person than she was in the manga at that point. Same with Ami, really. Both of them are actually getting, screen time and time for them to matter. And it's not just, we have to introduce every Sailor Scout right frickin' now. It's, okay, let's get used to...
than that.
Yeah, let's get used to each of them for a little bit. There were a ton of just Usagi episodes, and then there were even 2 or 3 Usagi and Ami episodes, and now we're at Usagi, Ami, and Rei. And yeah, they haven't even indicated that they're going to introduce the next 2 yet. They're not even in the opening. And I like that. Because it gives us more time to appreciate them and not just rush, everybody, team, right now.
On that regard, Naoko Takeuchi and cats.
Oh, Luna and Artemis are the most awful drawings. Like, I feel for the animators, like, because in the anime, Luna is, like, adorable. But in the manga, it's like, who taught you how to draw a cat? That is the ugliest. Doesn't even look like a cat.
It's like Tezuka and, freaking, Ishimori got drunk one day and decided to draw shit with their non-dominant hands, or maybe their feet.
Like really, like...
It's a cat I drew with my foot, see?
Like, it's the kind of cat that, like, Kuroneko from Trigun would look at and say, what the hell is that?
Or
like,
even Takun from Fully Cooley.
Yeah, it's just such a, like, they're so...
weird.
They don't have any shading on them either, so, like, they have no dimension. It's just, like, this weird... I can barely draw a cat just shows up, and it wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the fact that they're main characters in the story.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're also walking, talking plot devices.
That too. Yeah, Luna and Artemis was terrible designs, which makes me sad.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Thank you for sharing the books with me. I'm glad I read it. I really am glad I read it. It's flawed, but I do understand why it gained the popularity it did, and I'm really excited to see more, and I guess see how the anime handles it. Especially, and it was just kind of fun because it was a good bonding exercise for me with you, fiance person. Because yeah,
and I'm really excited for you to see certain story arcs, specifically the Doom Tree.
Oh boy.
The Doom Tree was the only one that I had all of it on VHS, so that was the only one that I could watch over and over and over again. So I can actually quote those episodes verbatim in English.
God. I'm really glad we're not watching it in English.
We don't even have that dub anymore.
Thank God. If you guys could see the face Rena is giving me. Okay,
so this has been a huge part of my childhood, and I'm happy you sat through it with me. My magical girl, boyfriend, fiance person.
Mahou Shoujo, Izumi-Chan.
I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to finding, kind of exploring more of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just call these episodes Mahou Shoujo Izumi-Chan. Yep.
Oh my golly.
See you next time.
Keep on spocking in the free world.
Oshioki-yo?